Okay, we are live. Welcome back, folks, to BricsCAD Unplugged. Today's topic is BricsCAD Mechanical, and we're going to talk about some of the new features and everything. Today, it's just me, Matt Olding, and
Vince Ahmed.
Vince, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's been a little crazy this morning, but
It looks like you're back in the Midwest today.
I am, yes.
Okay.
Cold, snowy, icky weather. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, cool. Well, hey, folks, some announcements today. We do have a winner from last week. It was Kevin, who said it a great question and everything. So we're going to send Kevin one of our Bricsys mugs, okay? But once again, for anybody else for today's broadcast, if you want a mug, go up and leave us a comment up on Facebook, okay?
Or questions, comments or questions.
Comment or questions, either or, and everything. We'll announce the winner for next week. And then also too, like I said, it's just Vince and I today, but we're going to show off mechanical. And Vince, could you bring up the website and we'll just show people real fast if they want to get more information and go up to the Bricsys mechanical website. There we go.
Yeah. So do you see that?
Yeah, we do.
Yes. So if you pick on products and you go to mechanical, BricsCAD Mechanical, you'll get this site. You can download the trial, but if we scroll down a little bit, I think what we want to cover or talk about is why.
Yeah, and it's like why use BricsCAD Mechanical? And to me, if you're an AutoCAD user using DWG and you've always wanted to get in, and you're doing mechanical design but in 2D, this is the best, easiest way to jump getting into a 3D parametric mechanical modeler and everything. And Vince, if you click onto see the features down there, click onto that. So switch over, there it goes.
Yeah,
and these are some of the new mechanical features that we're going to show off today. Basically, we're going to show off like 3 of these, starting off with a parameter manager and what that's all about, then jump into the standard parts, and then also to some exploded assembly of views and everything. So yeah, Vince, why don't you do this? Pass it back to me, and I'll start the demonstrations off.
There you go.
Okay, let me share my screen now. Let me know if you can see me, Vince.
Yep.
You can see me? Okay, so folks.
That's working.
I know I hardly ever do PowerPoints, but I thought this was a good opportunity to do one. So the first feature I'm going to show off, which is brand new inside and the mechanical product, is in the parametric modeling department, is Parametric Manager, basically Parameter Manager, and it's a panel basically. Let me bring up the product, and here it is. And so this is the Parameter Manager, or panel if you want to call it. And yes, you could dock it over here with the other panel, with the other panels and so forth. And also too, I'm just going to select through this. As you could see that we already have some parameters already made. Now, if you don't know what a parameter is, highly recommend going to our help center up on our website, and you can learn more information about parameters. But for you who do know about parameters, watch some of the stuff and being in the parameter manager right here is basically I'm going to do some just quick changes. So it's one place to make all your changes to all your parameters on your models. And like I'm just going to type in for this cylinder the length. I'm just going to change the length, simple and easy to do by just sticking in a different value there. Let's just do 2000 for this one. And you can see how that happens and everything. Also too, you could do new, sort by name, expression, and also to the value. And then most importantly is creating a new parameter. Let's do this. I'm going to create a new parameter here real fast. I'm just going to call it OS, O and S. And from here, I'm just going to leave the value as 1, but I'm going to come up here and just like any other equation, I'm just going to add it to this distance up here. And so let's just do OS like that. And there we go. And now you didn't see any changes because it's set for 1 and the value is 1, so it didn't change that much. So let's just actually up this value to like 200. Now watch the changes you're going to see here. You're going to see the middle part. I'm pointing with my finger. The cylinder move. There we go. And if I change that to like say 300, you can see how the values is changing. Now, probably one of the most neat things or fun things about the being inside the parameter manager here is actually showing the animations. You can actually animate all these and show it all off and everything. So some fun stuff right there, showing off the animation. Okay, so that's basically with one global place to see all your parameters when you add your parameters, you know, to your mechanical pieces and everything, your assemblies and models and everything. So yeah. Then Vince, I think you might have had a question for me.
No, I do you have, this is super cool, but do you have other examples that you would, where other areas where they would use parameters?
Yeah, well, one of the main things for like parameters, if you're new to using parameters, basically think about this cylinder right here. If you're a company or corporation, if you have basically the same part, but it's different sizes, using parameters is a great way to take advantage of, you know, changing those sizes and shapes and lengths and so forth, just like I was doing here. And so basically you design one part and then you put these parameters to it, and then you can modify and change it to the different lengths or diameters and everything you need. So that's, you know, that's how, you know, the number one, you know, way to use parameters and stuff. And then you have the manager here to keep track of them all, and you can experiment and try out different shapes and sizes with the parts you have. Okay?
Cool.
And then another part that another new feature is for assembly design. Basically, it's about using all the parameter standard parts. Okay, so let's go to another drawing file here. I'm gonna shut down the parameter manager, and you can see that. Let me collapse this. So already to this part, I've actually added some holes, and you can see I added a ring in here. And these are all standard components now that ship with version 19. And let's just go here and list these off. You can see I have holes, okay, from you know, sheet metal, different parts, okay. And then also to, let's go back one more, to standard parts, you know, basically from bearings to O-rings, go all the way down to the bottom to washers. So there's over 800 parts, okay, that are in here that are parametric that you can change and modify. Let me just go back here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a couple more holes, actually, just show you how this works. So basically, I'm bringing a hole over, and I'm going to say do multiple holes. And I'm just taking the defaults here, and I'm just going to select put a hole there, and I'm going to put a hole right there, and another one over here. Okay, so basically, as you can see, I just created those holes, and if I go up here, you can see that I got some Swiss cheese going on, okay, with a bearing in the middle. I'm actually getting a little hungry though. But then from there,
symmetrical Swiss cheese.
Yeah, there we go. Let's do some bolts, and let's add some like a hexagon bolt in here with a dim dimension, and let's pull this over. And you can see that I'm just dragging this out from the components library, and I could just basically come over here and just insert it in, okay? And then do that again, basically, but I'm going to turn on multiple, so I could just go to do it in multiple places.
So it's interesting. As you were dragging it, it looked like it was trying to align itself to the surface you were placing it on. That, I don't know if you
it does have that capability, so you can align it to just about any place you want to for the different type of insert commands. But
Very
also,
cool.
too, more powerful though, Vince, is this. Let's say I don't want this size, and you can come over to here and like just pick out a different size, and I'm just going to go down to a 16 by 2, and let's make the length, change that length to a different length size here, and let's make it a 50 millimeter, and then there we go, and we can just actually insert this one in. And so you do different sizes and everything, and so tons of different options for your components and everything. So and there we go. So basically, take advantage of the new components library. There's over 800 of them listed inside of BricsCAD version 19 Mechanical. Okay, and once again, Vince, I think you might have had some questions about this, or some other people had some questions.
Yeah, I think once in a while, well, we get a couple questions. I mean, I think somewhere we said there were 30,000 new parts, but now you're just saying there's 800. So what's the question is, are there 30,000 or are there 800?
Well, there's actually 800 parametric parts, from bolts, washers, and also too with features, and features meaning like holes and everything like that. But where the 30,000 plus comes is the variety, the options. Like I showed you there, I changed that one bolt to a different size and different length shape. So if you add that all in, it's way over 30,000 basically.
Yeah, so you're basically showing every different size of bolt, but you're only having one bolt component. It's just the parameters allow it to represent hundreds, or in some cases only maybe thousands of parts.
You got it. Yep,
okay,
you got it. Yeah.
And then the other question we get is, can we make our own? You've got the standard parts there. Can we create our own parts?
Good question, Vince. Yes, you can. And one of the things I do recommend on that, you can create your own libraries, or if you have an existing 2D library or 2D or 3D library, you can bring those over and have those be components also too. So yeah, good question.
Very cool.
Okay, so that was all about the standard parts. The next new feature is, this one's a exciting one because it shows really well, is exploded views for assemblies. So let's go back to the product inside of BricsCAD. So I have basically an assembly view up here of basically of an alder which has a belt that goes around it inside of a mechanical wheel. And from here, basically, I've already created some exploded views from here, but I can just say there's a top and a bottom one that I created. But if I go in and edit these, now you can see it's just exploded. Let's change my viewpoint. But the fun thing about this now is, yes, I can take this exploded assembler now and just take that and make it a 2D drawing. Or where a lot of people are going with manufacturing now to see how things are built and assembled together is an animation. Now watch this. And so you could see that this is being taken apart by an animation. So if you want to pass this along, you can too, instead of creating that 2D drawing. So some simple and fast, easy stuff built inside of version 19 for doing assembly views, along with a cool little animation.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's very nice and everything. Yeah. Okay, and let's see, moving on here. Oh, real fast, a lot of great information up on our help center about basically doing exploded views and for assemblies, along with balloons, from either doing a top level or bottom level, and then the different ways of doing your exploded assembly views. So basically, go up to our help center. You can get a lot more information about the different parameters for dealing with exploded assemblies and everything. Okay. Let's go back to the PowerPoint, and I have one more feature to show off. This one's been around for a while, but I think it's a pretty important one, is dealing with assembly constraints with kinematics and everything. So let's go back to our drawing here, this piston, and if you could look over here, basically these are my assembly constraints. Okay, I have from tangent, from concentric, and everything, and so you can see how they're all lined up there. But probably the most important thing is, how does this actually work and operate? So let's go in here, and I'm just going to say let's do it on the x-axis or the y-axis. And now you can see I'm rotating this around the piston and everything. You can see how it actually works in motion. And yes, I can stick in a degree of angle here also too to change it. But the importance of this and visualizing this is to make sure that all your assembly stuff is properly constrained is a huge advantage in taking advantage of mechanical software like this. Okay, so with that, Vince, I think you have a little opinion about,
well, it's funny you're showing in that engine is basically an RC aircraft engine piston assembly, so I'm very familiar with that. But I can really see a value to using this feature because you can test the limits. So I would see it as something where we can test the limits of where mechanically this thing can go, and if there's going to be any kind of conflict or anything that's going to hit. You can kind of see if the connecting rod is going to hit the side of the cylinder wall or those types of things. Are there other examples that you would?
Well, yeah. And like nowadays in manufacturing, there are so many robot arms, where they got to pick up stuff and move stuff around. And simulating that here in the CAD software is by far, you want to do all that before you actually go to the shop floor to make sure you're not crashing into everything. So just all those moving components, like even opening a car door, you want to make sure everything is working properly before you actually go out and manufacture and stuff.
I think we saw some examples where they're doing the backhoe, and you could test the limits of the different cylinders. You could say, oh, okay, if I put the wrong cylinder in here, I can't get the motion I need, right? Or I have too much. And so it's really, there's definitely in mechanical design, there's areas where you'd want to test the limits of these types of this type of motion.
Yeah. So cool stuff. So folks, those are the 3 or 4 short demonstrations that I had to show you today. But then also too, I do have a little bit of a boring PowerPoint, but it's to emphasize some stuff that I think is actually really cool, and especially.
Not supposed to say boring, Matt.
Well, PowerPoints, they could be a little boring. But basically, if you're an AutoCAD user and you're used to doing 2D work and you want to jump into 3D mechanical design, BricsCAD Mechanical is the way to go, folks, because you're familiar with most of the functionality already. We have assemblies, sheet metals, and of course doing drawing views. Easy to learn, very powerful tools that I just demonstrated. And then also too, you can edit your DWGs anytime, any other place. And then also to import 3D geometry from SolidWorks, Inventor, ProEase, and all that. And then one key point too, where there's a lot of mechanical software out there, it's history based. This is not. BricsCAD Mechanical is not history based, and I could go on a whole lecture about that. But personally, this is the better way to go, folks. Okay,
absolutely
history based, and then affordability. Yes, this is very affordability and dealing with. Hey, you buy the product, it is yours, and use it as much as you want. So that's my little sales piece there at the end of the presentation, and I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. And well, Vince, that's mechanical. Any impressions do you have, or any last thoughts?
Well, I think the fact that you're able to do what I'm seeing in this product is being able to do things that you wouldn't think we could do in just a regular CAD product. So you think you'd need to have some kind of a solid modeling, something else, some of those other products that you mentioned. But the fact that you're able to do this with simple in a DWG format and then do all of the kinematics, the constraints, all that stuff is super cool.
Yeah. And to me, it puts a big smile on my face. Like Heidi showing off 2 weeks ago some of the new features in the core product. To me, this is like, wow, look at this functionality. And yeah, I showed off some fancy stuff there, or sort of fancy, but it's simple and easy to do and to use and everything. So definitely making the jump into BricsCAD Mechanical if you're a mechanical person. Highly recommend.
The other thing I have said multiple times is the fact that we're able to do, BIM things inside of BricsCAD, and now we're also able to do mechanical things. And I know we have to come back and do a session on the sheet metal. That's a whole nother session on its own in terms of the capabilities in sheet metal. But all that stuff is still sitting inside of a DWG. We're not jumping between these different products to be able to do this, or different file formats or structures. So that's still a massive advantage we have, right?
Oh, yeah, big advantage. And then also, too, Vince, I keep on forgetting, I want to give a big shout out to all our developers, all the programmers out there for, doing the core product, the BIM product, and the mechanical product. You guys are rock stars. And basically, I feel lucky, and Vince, you too, and same thing with Jacob last week saying, hey, I get to show this product off and play with it and everything. And it's a delight, So kudos to all the programmers out there, putting their hard work into making these products, to what they are today.
Hey, if I can, I do want to share the pricing because there is some pricing going on right now we have to talk about. So if you go up to the website, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so if you go up to the pricing, for mechanical, right now there is a promotion. That promotion goes on until December 16th, 15th, 16th, I believe, middle of the month. So the price you're seeing up on our website right now is the promotional pricing, and that $21.55 is for BricsCAD Mechanical. That includes everything. You don't have to add it to Platinum. It's actually Platinum with all the mechanical components in it. So that's a standalone product.
Vince, you got to highlight, the sheet metal. Sheet metal is
sheet metal is inside of that as well. So it includes that, everything you were showing, plus, it also, you get the all-in maintenance for the next year. So that for $21.55 is pretty good price actually right now. So normal price will be $22.75, but right now it's $21.55 for the product, and that's a perpetual license. Or if you do want to go into subscription, we do have that option. The rental, we'll call it a rental, $862 a year, which is pretty good when you consider what you may have to pay in other products to get those types of features and functionality.
Oh, it's way worth its in gold, the value that you're getting.
So definitely reach out to us if you have questions. We've got a team of people that can help here in the U.S. Answer some questions. Please post questions. We're giving away the mug, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And then like us on Facebook, and then watch us on YouTube. And we will be back next week with another episode of BricsCAD Unplugged. And thanks, folks. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.